Hello and welcome to Motorboats Monthly's practical section. Today we're going to be looking at those essential but simple pre and post startup checks that will ensure your day on the water goes without a hitch. To carry out most of these checks you're going to need to get down into the engine room. Now once the hatch is open, the first thing you need to do, have a look down into the bilge and make sure that there's no water down there. If that's okay, you can drop yourself down into the engine bay and you can have a good sniff and make sure there's no evidence of any gas or petrol fumes. Next, we're going to look at the engine's cooling systems. The most important thing here is to make sure that the seacock is open so that the engine has coolant water flowing through it. Then we're going to look at the raw water strainer to ensure that it's not blocked. And lastly, we're going to look at the header tank to make sure that the coolant is at the correct level. When the engine's cold, the level should be between the minimum and the maximum marks. If we're happy with the coolant system, we can move on to the oil levels. Now we need to just pull the dipstick out from the engine, give it a wipe with a bit of tissue or an old rag to clean it up, pushing it all the way down, make sure it clicks in place, leave it a couple of seconds, pull it out and check your levels. Now we're looking for it to be between the minimum and the maximum mark, which this one is. We can also check the condition of the oil. We're looking for it to be a nice dark black or golden brown colour and not a milky grey, which would indicate a problem. Now the first thing to do is to make sure that you've actually got enough fuel in the tank for your cruising plans that day. And the only other job you can do here is to check your primary fuel filter for contamination by either water or debris. If you haven't got see-through filters, the easiest way to check is to drain a little bit of fuel into a transparent jar and check it that way. Right, that's the most important checks done, but there are still a number of other checks that you can undertake. Things such as the fluid levels in your power steering system, your gearbox, and your power trim. Finally, you just need to have a quick check around the engine, looking for fluid leaks and such like. It's also worth checking the tension of any drive belts on the front of the engines. And as a last and final check, just make sure that the engine room fire extinguisher is operative. So that's your pre-start checks done. All we need to do now is to make sure that the fuel and the batteries are turned on before firing up the engine and doing some post-start checks. The first thing we need to check, if practical, is that we've got a flow of coolant water through the engine. Then we need to check the oil pressure gauge to make sure it's come up to its normal reading. We should now drop the boat into and out of gear on each engine to make sure that we have drive. And lastly, keep an eye on the temperature gauge for the first few minutes of operation to make sure that it comes up to its normal operating temperature. By the way, don't forget to unplug your shore power lead. You'd be surprised at how many people will forget. So that's it, that's your engine checks done. It should only take a couple of minutes and it leaves you free to enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching.